Welcome to the Gag Is podcast with me, your host, Charlie Shanta, where I share the roller coaster of my life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. After becoming a teen mom at 14 and a widow by the age of 21, it's a journey filled with tears and laughter, reminding you that even in the toughest moments, there's hope. The gag is life may be unpredictable, but it's always worth living.
Welcome back to the Gag Is podcast. I am your girl, Charlie Shante. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back for another week. I greatly appreciate it. Oh man, I got on sweatshirt today because y'all know why? Because it's chilly in Florida. And Florida's trying to participate in winter, and I was okay like the first few times, but now it's getting a little extreme. But I'm not gonna complain because like we suffered tremendously last summer. And I this summer I don't want no smoke this summer. Okay, Florida, I don't want no smoke this summer. But thank y'all for coming back. Like, how y'all doing? Y'all good? I'm good. Things are going good. Y'all see I'm back in my chair. I didn't go to the bed. I'm feeling better, but I think I like this chair though. Like this chair is like cheering. Like it's comfy. I can stretch my legs out. Like the chair is cheering. Um, so yeah, the chair is cheering, and then y'all probably noticed something else too. I'm recording in a day. Cause I was gonna record last night, but I wasn't feeling too good. Like had a little tummy troubles. But it's all right, we good now. And to be honest with you, I kinda like this. So y'all may start getting some quote unquote daytime episodes instead of nighttime episodes, or I'll switch it up. Y'all know. It's whatever, but let's go ahead and jump into today. Um, so I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna read a review. Y'all know y'all gotta leave these reviews. You can leave it on YouTube, or you can leave it on your wherever you listen to your podcast at Apple. If you don't want to leave it out in the public, you can always leave it on my Instagram or the show's Instagram, and I can read it like that. You can remain anonymous, and remember when you are leaving a review on a podcasting platform, please make sure that you rate it and give your girl 5 stars, okay? Let me know that you liked it, and then also share it with somebody because, yeah, why would you not? Don't be gatekeeping. So, this review is from the last episode about New Year revamps, not so much New Year's resolution, but New Year's revamp. And I told y'all, leave me, what y'all doing for the new year? Like, are you fixing something different? Like, are you changing some things? Like, tell me what you're doing. So, this review says, Happy New Year. My resolutions are an opportunity to reset and reevaluate. My main one this year is to reconnect with family near and far. I like that. And that's something I talked about on the last episode as well. Reconnecting and just strengthening bonds. My family, my goal is at least 4 audiobooks. Listen and read at the same time. I want to get back into reading again this year. Like I have a whole bookcase full of books that I started to read or I want to read, so I need to do that too. Keep in mind this is a leap year. What am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with my extra day? I don't know. Probably mm, I don't know. I'll let y'all know when that leap day episode drop. I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. Like, are you supposed to do something special, or what are you supposed to do? I don't know. It's another day. I don't even know what day it falls. What day do it even fall on? Because that might be a good indication of what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see maybe if they have like leap year activities. It falls on a Thursday. Hmm. I don't know. I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. But anywho, let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. Today's episode is about boundaries. We got to talk about these boundaries. Got to. And I'm probably going to say some things that's going to ruffle a few feathers, But that's okay because I was always told a hit dog will holler. Take that how you want to. So, boundaries, like what is a boundary and why do we need them? A boundary is like a stop sign, it's like a pause, hold up, wait a minute, you ain't finna do that. Like, we need them because if not, people will take advantage of you. Like, little, big, medium, people will take advantage of you, and you need boundaries. In my opinion, I feel like you need boundaries for comfort, because if you just let people do anything, treat you any kind of way, it's going to lead to upset, heartache, and long-term anger, things that we already don't need, in our lives. So that's kind of what, to me, that's kind of like what a boundary is. Me, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I recently, when I say recently, I'll say over the last few years, have really stood fast on my boundaries. I would set boundaries, but the type of person, I'm a Sag. So the type of person that I am, I would be like, okay, I have this boundary, but you know, my heart, my heart is so big that I would just I let stuff slide. And then, once I let it slide once, I started letting it slide again and again and again. And it got to the point where I had built up anger and I just exploded. No, I just exploded. I feel like I didn't have the tools to deal with it. I didn't have the correct, what is a boundary? How do you deal with boundaries? How do you set boundaries? And I think a lot of people don't have that knowledge, or either they're afraid to set boundaries because of what may happen. Yes, I was afraid to set some boundaries because I was like, I don't want to lose this person, or I don't want people to think differently of me. But I had to realize, if I'm not going to set these boundaries and I'm not going to respect me, how can I expect somebody else to respect me in my comfort and my surroundings? Right? So it can be used for anybody, any type of relationship, parents, kids, co-workers, friends, definitely friends. And I think I'm probably going to dedicate an entire episode to boundaries with friends, because what I've been seeing online over the last few years, y'all need to set some boundaries with y'all friends. Like, real talk, because y'all friends is out of line, and y'all friends are been putting y'all in positions and situations that shouldn't even be in, should not be in. And then y'all keep these people around. Why? Like, we gonna get to that in another episode. But there's two different types of boundaries, of course, healthy and unhealthy. We all know that unhealthy boundaries are greater than healthy boundaries, and that's just the way it is. Like I said, you don't want to upset people, you don't want to, you know you don't want nobody to feel a different kind of way about you, so you don't really set the boundaries, and then the boundaries become unhealthy. So some examples of healthy boundaries are being able to say no and accepting a no from somebody. OMG. This is, I didn't know that that was a healthy boundary, because I did not know how to say no. And I definitely, as a Sag, don't accept the word no. I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Don't judge me. I'm working on that. But being able to say no, if you don't have the capacity, say no. Or when someone else doesn't have the capacity, be accepting of their no, not no. Why? No is a response. No is an explanation. Okay? If somebody tells you no, accept no for what it is. No needs no explanation. No needs no explanation. I like that rhyme. But no needs no explanation. Um, Being able to speak your needs and wants. This is another one that I suffer big with. as being a widow and also being a mom and a friend, but more so being a mom and being a widow. So let me say this. This episode is very broad with boundaries. When I was putting this episode together, I was researching and putting out my template and everything, and I discovered that the 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 topic of boundaries is very general. And so once I started breaking it down, I was like, man, I'm going to need a few episodes to get this point across, because if I were to take boundaries, healthy, unhealthy, break all of this stuff down with the different groups, it would probably be like a 2 to 3 hour episode. So I figure I'll break this down into a couple episodes so that me personally, I don't want to feel rushed when I'm providing information or I'm speaking on something. So you will see a couple of episodes about boundaries with parents, friends, the kids, and these are all from my perspective. So they may apply to you, they may not apply to you. However, it's always good to listen, and if you feel like any of this information can help someone in your circle, feel free to share it with them. Send them to the YouTube page. Tell them to follow me on Instagram. Tell them to listen on their favorite podcasting app, because everybody's on the go, so you can listen. You don't necessarily got to watch. So I haven't decided how many episodes I'm going to dedicate to it, but be on the lookout for it. It'll probably come after this episode for a few, or I may mix it up from time to time. I don't want to overwhelm y'all, you know. Um, and then also another healthy boundary is being flexible without compromising you. We oftentimes bend and we do things for other people. However, we do them out of, you know, our compassion for another person. But sometimes we end up doing things and that's not really, you're not happy. You did it because somebody asked you, but deep down inside, you know that that does not align with who you are as a person and what you do and what you believe. And so we gotta put a halt, a break, a boundary on it so that you're not feeling out of place and you're not feeling uncomfortable. Unhealthy boundaries. Now, this list could have been 100 things, but I summed it up to the ones that I feel should be honed in on the most. The number one that I feel like is number one is oversharing of personal information. Now, social media has allowed us to connect with people near and far. Sometimes people put too much information on social media, and they put the information on social media, and I often look and go, why would you put something like that on social media? I seen a conversation on a page the other day, and they were talking about how somebody gave somebody a STI. Why do you feel the need to put out somebody else's personal information? And why? Why would you do that? So like not only so like you're showing that you're not a trusted friend, but you're putting somebody else's personal information out there. We as a worldwide, we could have gone without knowing that that person had a STI and who they got it from. Like that's way oversharing. We don't need to share every moment of our lives. You can share fun moments, you can share happy moments about your kids, you can share stuff like that, but like putting somebody's personal business and information out there, like why would you do that? Like that's just way too oversharing. Another unhealthy thing is being manipulative, and the new word that we got out there is narcissist. It's not really a new word. but people are just throwing it around like it's a basketball. Being manipulative, why would you want to manipulate somebody? Like if you like if why are you going in with bad intentions already? I cannot stand manipulative people. I cannot. I'm gonna be straightforward with you, straight up and down with you, so that you can understand where I'm coming from. If I have to think of something to tell you in order for you to do something, I probably shouldn't be asking you to do it, and I probably shouldn't be doing it. If I tell you to ride to the bank with me, but can you, or actually, if I tell you I need to go to the bank, but can you drive, but I know I'm going to rob the bank, why would I do that? And then now I don't put you in something. Now you an accomplice to a bank robbery, and you to get you in essence the getaway driver. Instead of, hey, I need to go to the bank. Can you take me to the bank? I need to take care of some business, but my foot is broke and really, you know, I can't really handle it. Be upfront with your intentions. Now, y'all might got some friends that be like, if you ride the bank, I'll be the getaway driver. That's type of friends you got. Then that's you. Do you, boo? Do you? But don't. Why be manipulative to people? That's sad, because if somebody was to do it to you, you wouldn't like it. So don't do stuff. Don't manipulate people. Don't do stuff to people that you don't want people to do to you. And then this is a big one that I've seen. Don't let unhealthy boundaries become abusive, either verbally or physically. Don't let them become harmful to where you want to harm someone or you want to harm yourself. So make sure you know when. Sometimes you got to know when to say when. I think a lot of times we just keep going, and we don't know when to say when. We got to learn when to say when. And I, I've had to learn when to say when. Like I had to set a boundary last year that was so hard. And I talked about it on one of my previous episodes. I think um, I'll have to see what episode it was, but I had to create a boundary, two boundaries actually, and those boundaries was the hardest things that I think I've ever had to do, because didn't only affect me, it affected someone else, and then it affected the people involved. But I had to, what they saying now, I had to stand on business, and I'm still standing on business. But it was hard. It was real hard. But I'm here and I'm still standing on business. And so let's talk about why you should set boundaries to avoid burnout. Because if you're always a yes person or a yes woman, you're going to get tired, and then you don't have energy and time for yourself. And if you don't have energy and time for yourself, how can you be there for someone else? It doesn't work like that. And then you got to set boundaries, because you got to have balance. You can't always give, 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 because if you're constantly giving, you're taking away. It's like if you start with $1,000 in the bank, but you constantly give, 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 eventually you're not going to have none, because guess what? You're not putting nothing back in. You got to know when to be able to help somebody, and you also got to be able to know when to help yourself. You got to have the balance. I'm still learning balance. Luckily, I got people around me that understand, and they know me, and they love me for me, and they understand that I ain't perfect, and they understand that I'm learning. I am learning. And if you listen to the last episode, I still ain't started therapy yet. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna I'm gonna get there. So, um, there's different types of boundaries that you know, you can partake in. So we got physical boundaries. And so an example of this would be letting someone know that you're uncomfortable with them touching you, whether it's a hug or anything like that. Me, I don't like to be touched. I don't like to be touched, especially by a stranger. People like, oh, hey, how you doing? Hey, I don't like to shake hands. I barely like to fist bump. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. I hate when I go somewhere and they try to throw their arm around you. So I'm like, hey, do not touch me. Or don't just, hey, don't touch me. Do not touch me. That is the ultimate pet peeve. I have PTSD. You touch me, I may swing on you. Just as simple as that. So you've been warned emotionally, emotional boundaries. And I think this is a big one that everybody, emotional boundaries. So an example of this would be telling your partner not to discuss the intimate details of your relationship, whether that be, sexually, which I'll do in the bedroom, or if y'all have had an argument or something like that. You got to set that boundary, because when boundaries are put down and boundaries are crossed, it can make for some troubled waters. Nobody want to trouble the water. Okay, sound like a slave. Hmm. Nobody want to trouble the waters. So asking your partner not to share like intimate details about what y'all be doing in the bedroom, or if y'all have had any arguments or anything like that. Another boundary, a time or behavioral boundary. This flows with like New Year's, time management, and behavioral. So, an example of this would be not answering emails outside of work. I do not have work stuff on my phone. I did for a minute, but then I found myself like, oh, I got email, let me reply. Um, no, I took it off my phone, like Zoom messages from work and stuff. I'm like, no, I ain't finna do this. And so I had to make it a habit. It'll wait, because if it was not me, like, what would you do if you couldn't contact me? That's the way I look at it. And your emergency, not her emergency. Okay. Sure ain't. So I had to set that boundary um, for work, and then also time, respect somebody else's time, because if you're supposed to meet somebody there at a certain place, say y'all going to brunch or something, and you're late, you're not respecting their time boundary. And if you're constantly late, you really ain't respecting my time boundary. You can't hit me with a, oh girl, you know how I am. I'll be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stop asking you to come to breakfast or brunch, because I don't got time to be waiting on you. If we set a time, like if you 5 or 10 minutes late, that's fine. But when you start getting to the 30, 45 minutes, that means when like you knew we were supposed to be there and you just took your sweet time. Or at least have the respect to say, hey, I'm running a little bit late, can we push it back a little bit? That's better than showing up late. That's way better than showing up late, because that's rude and disrespectful. Some of the boundaries, oh goodness, mm, mm, mm. Y'all might start fighting me. Oh, I might get some nasty comments for this, but I hit dog a holler. Partners, uh a way to set the tone with your partners. And again, this is just a brief overview. There are going to be more in-depth conversations about these topics. So, like I said, there's just a general overview with your partner. Set the tone for the conversations. One thing, don't come at me and be loud, because if you come at me and be loud, one or two things gonna happen. I'm gonna get loud back with you, or I'm gonna shut down altogether. So go in with a nice mellow tone. Don't go in there being aggressive. Just nice, slight, welcoming tone. Now, I'm from the country, from little old town in Oklahoma. Sometimes I talk loud. I've had to work on that as an adult, because I'm from the country and we talk loud. We talk loud. And I can't help it. Like, when I record these episodes and then I go back and I listen to them, I'm like, man, I am so loud. So I have to do an audio adjust. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. I'm just country and loud. Avoid you statements. We I'm guilty of this. Guilty of this. You have a conversation with your partner and y'all are trying to work through something, but then it's like, well, you did, you said, so now we victim shaming. We you automatically the victim because we, because ain't we in this argument together? Like, ain't both of us disagreeing? So it's we, it's not just you, because 9 times out of 10, you said something or I said something and the other person reacted. That's what disagreement is. And so, how do we healthily, healthily, how do we healthily have a discussion to come to a happy medium? Because nobody's gonna be right. Where's the happy medium in that? And then pay attention to your partner in the moment. One thing I do when I go on dates or I'm hanging out with somebody, I try not to be on my phone. Like, I'm trying not to search social media. I'm trying not to answer text messages and things like that. If I know I'm going to be hanging out with somebody, I'm going to be like, "Hey, I'm about to do this, blah blah blah." So I might not text right back if you text me or whatever, but give that person the time and the respect. Like, pay attention to them. And when just pay attention to them, because nothing feels better to a person than when you pay attention to them. Because if I'm out with somebody, but I'm like, ooh, oh my, okay, and I'm scrolling and I'm looking at the 50, 11 billion memes that Nikki done sent me on social media, I'm not paying attention to you. I'm more tuned into what Nikki done sent me compared to me giving you my undivided attention. Like, that is a big pet peeve of mine. With your friends, treat your friends the way you want to be treated. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And if you okay with being mistreated, you don't need no friends. Cause ain't nobody got time for that. We gonna get into that in a different episode. Don't don't be out here treating people like that and then talking about some, the Lord gonna bless me. No. Do he you and the Lord know how you treating people. And no, that's not how you treat people. And then you wonder why shit don't go your way. Look how you treating people. You nasty to people in private, but then be trying to snicker and grin in public. Don't do that. Keep that same energy private and public. Don't ghost people. If you don't want to be cool with somebody, let them know. Like, how old are we? Let them know. Hey, we cool from a distance. Ain't no hate, ain't no love lost. But I just don't think you fit to where I'm going or the person that I am, and I don't want to surround myself with someone whose beliefs are not very similar to mine. That, just as simple as that. Communicating with people can help 96% of problems and issues that people have in friendships. Me and my friends, we have a very good understanding. Me, Tiffany, Tarvis, and Nikki, we have a very good understanding. None of them operate the same, but we know how each other operates within our relationship. Again, I'm gonna get into that in that friends episode because I think I want to have, all of them on an episode, because that would be a really good episode, because each one of them have known me for a different period of time. With Tarvis knowing me the longest. Yeah, Tarvis has known me almost 20 years. So, and then Nikki has known me for almost 10 years. So the close friends that I've known between 10 and 20 years, you know. So we're gonna get into that. Parents, I have boundaries with my parents. I have respectable boundaries with my parents. Love my mom and daddy to death. Them jokers so hard headed. Oh my goodness. I love you, mommy and daddy, but my parents are hard headed. Jesus. I guess that's where I get it from. Yeah, that's probably where I get that from. Kids. this gonna be a whole episode because these kids test my gangster, especially New Face. New Face, New Face. I love that boy to death. But that boy right there, that boy is birth control. That boy is birth control because that's all I can say for him. Marco Polo, I got boundaries for Marco Polo too, but his boundaries are very different because in essence, we kind of grew up together. So we both learning boundaries. Like we both learning boundaries. Like remember, I had him when I was 14, so we both learning boundaries. And it's a little difficult, it's a little hard, but we both learning boundaries. So that's good. But like I said, with children and friends, that's gonna be an episode, a totally different episode, because I feel like there's so much more within those realms that we can discuss. And all of it's my opinion. I do the research just to see, what other avenues are out there when it comes to boundaries and stuff like this, because everybody got boundary issues with their parents. Can't nobody sit here and say that they ain't tried to use the bathroom and they child coming up in there or standing by the door. We can all 1,000, a million percent agree on that. Mommy, mommy, I just wanna I just want to shit in peace. That's it. That's it. It has gotten bad to the point sometimes, like New Face was little, he would scribble notes and slide them under the door for another episode. Be a boy, mom, they said. Yeah, it's ghetto, and it ain't for the faint of heart. Okay, y'all girl dads, y'all probably got a bad too, but boy, mom is so. Let's come back in. We gonna bring it back in. But yeah, so in a nutshell, that's boundaries. That's boundaries. So let's go ahead and get into our you can't make this up. So this is one I find it so very funny, right? Because we've all used a self checkout. And me and my dad were having a conversation and we both agreed that self checkouts are good and bad. If you got if you got less than 10 items, it's pretty good. You can kind of beep 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 and you can go. However, when they started coming about after, real heavy during COVID, we were like, this is going to be a problem because one, it's going to eliminate jobs, and two, theft going to go up. Well, would you know, theft doubled. And actually, some stores are getting ready to get rid of self checkout because they losing too much money, which in turn causes prices to be higher. Well, a correlation. So some grocery stores are moving away from self checkout. They were introduced as a way to reduce labor costs in stores. Like I said, if somebody got one or two items, somebody coming to pick up something real quick, some toilet paper, something like that after work, I'm all in agreement for it. But y'all trying to bring up 65-inch TVs for the same price as a banana. Y'all know y'all cannot do that. This TV costs $1,800, but you ringing it up for $1.89. You don't think nobody gonna say, how heavily discounted? Like $1.89 don't even cover the tax on that TV, especially in Florida. Taxes, I think, in Hillsborough County is like 8.25%. At 18.99, that's what, almost $20 in taxes. But you about to get this TV for $1.89. What kind of super drug sale is this? See, when I start getting funny, my accent comes out so bad. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, and at one point, it was thought that it would take over the store industry because they thought they was gonna get rid of humans. You wasn't getting rid of no humans. 40% of individuals prefer that they prefer self checkout, and yeah, like the self checkout lines be longer than the actual regular lines. So I done started dipping back into the regular lines because it give me a chance to talk to the people. Hey, how you doing? How your day going? And if you have an issue with something, they can correct it right there. Versus self checkout, you gotta wait for somebody, the little help thing. You gotta wait for somebody to come and help you out, and they may be helping somebody else, so you may have to wait. So is that really takes up time too. Self checkout is creating theft costs in the millions. That's wild. What are y'all stealing? What are y'all stealing? Like, y'all are not stealing. What are y'all stealing? What are y'all stealing? I need to know. What are y'all stealing? 15, this is crazy. This is crazy right here. 15% of Americans have admitted to stealing an average of $60 worth of items at the self checkout. What? What are y'all stealing? Are y'all stealing food? Are y'all stealing clothes? Like, what are y'all stealing? Like, did you? And then people can easily say, "Oh, I just forgot. It was in the basket. It was on the bottom. I didn't see it." There's prompts that ask you, "Have you scanned everything in your basket?" Make sure you check under the basket. So you can't sit here and tell me that you forgot the stuff in your basket. No, it don't work like that. The rate of loss has doubled due to self checkout. I I feel like I see people steal. I be like, they stealing. I don't work here though, so I just pray, because what would you stealing for? If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. But to the point where you gotta steal and then make everything else go up, people don't understand that. When people steal, it makes the cost of stuff go up because companies have to recoup that money. But y'all don't know that. Some of y'all act like y'all don't know that. So more stores are going back to traditional cashiers to reduce the amount of theft. Now y'all gotta go stand back in line because y'all don't know how to not steal. So now y'all gotta go back in line and let Miss Judy, bless her heart, ring y'all up just as slow as she want to. Y'all did that. Nobody told y'all do that. Nobody told y'all go in there and steal. I stole. I was little, and they used to have these little paper horoscopes at the self checkout. Not the self checkout. They didn't even have self checkout in the 90s like that. Child. It's like these little horoscopes rolled up, and they had them in this like little thing above the candy. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Oh, I'm a Sagittarius. I want to get one of these." So I got it. I enrolled it, and then walked out the store with it. I didn't know I was stealing. The thing was probably about 39 cents. I didn't know I was stealing. So that's my steal story. I got another one, but I ain't gonna tell y'all about it. Or do I want to tell y'all about it? Nah. I'll tell y'all about it in private. So pay attention, because I haven't decided what platform I'm gonna do like behind the scenes stories on. Probably gonna be on Patreon. We'll see. I had to I had to do that because sometimes when I do episodes, I do have stories that correlate with it, but it ain't for everybody. But yeah, so stop stealing from the store, y'all, because y'all making everything go up, and just stop, please. Please. I'm begging you. Please. Please, please. Earring stabbed me. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Y'all know I like to do my lyric of the week. So this week, since we're talking about boundaries, my lyric of the week is coming from a gentleman named Coleman Lane, and the song is called "Keep My Cool." Because when we trying to establish these boundaries, we gotta learn how to keep our cool. Can't get upset. Gotta stand on business. All right, come to the end of the show. Thank y'all for rocking with me for another week. And remember, if you have not already, go ahead and leave a review, 5 stars. Go ahead and share. It don't cost nothing to share. Sharing is free 99. Make sure you listen to this. And when you listen to it, make sure you download it. Also, make sure you go and check out the video on YouTube. All right. Till next week. Love y'all.